Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Math with Dr. War. We are finding the surface area of a cylinder. Please remember that these formulas will be given to you on the GED formula page, so you do not need to memorize them. Also remember you can use a calculator. So my first question says, Winona has to paint the entire surface of the barrel shown below. What is the surface area of the barrel including the top and the bottom? Use 3.14 for pi. So the first thing we need to do is write our formula. So our formula is SA, which represents surface area, and it is 2 pi r for radius multiplied by the height, and then you're going to add 2 pi r squared. So basically, when you're finding the surface area of a cylinder, you're finding the surface area of the rounded body, which is this. And then that's where you get the 2 pi RH. And then the surface area of the top. Now the top is a circle, so it's like you're just finding the area of a circle. And the area of a circle is just pi r squared. But remember, you have a top and a bottom, so that's where the 2 comes in. Let's replace all of our variables by their numerical value. So we have 2. Remember they said for pi, use 3.14. Our radius is 10. And our height is 15. So remember your radius goes from the outskirts to the center. Right here is your radius. Plus 2 pi is 3.14, and your radius again is 10, and we have to square. So we'll get our calculator. So on the GED test, you're simply going to write your formula, replace the variables by their numerical value, get your calculator, and we're going to plug everything in. So I like to use parentheses. So I'm going to open a parentheses, and I'm going to plug in 2 times 3.14 times 10 times 15. I'm going to close that. Add. I'm going to open parentheses again. I have 2 times 3.14 times 10 squared. I'm going to close that parentheses. And I'm going to hit enter. And my answer is 1,570. And that would be square feet. So my answer is C. Okay, let's try it again. It says here, a cylinder is shown below. So here's our cylinder. What is the approximate surface area of this cylinder in square centimeters? So the 10 here is your height. Now the 6 here, notice that line is cutting the circle at the top in half. So the 6 is your diameter. So in order to get the radius, we have to half the diameter. So we have to take 6 and divide it by 2. So our radius is actually 3. So your radius is going from here to the center. So that would be 3 centimeters. Always remember, if you have any sort of circular base, they can give you radius or diameter. Always remember, if they give you diameter, you're going to have to take half of it in order to get your radius. Our formula is SA equals to 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. So I have 2. Now notice here they did not tell you to use 3.14, but you can use pi. So I'm going to write 2 pi. Our radius is 3 and our height is 10. Plus 2 pi and our radius is 3 squared. Equals, get your calculator, open your parentheses, you have 2 times pi times 3 times 10 plus open your parentheses again, 2 times pi times 3 squared, close your parentheses, you hit enter. Notice my answer is 78 pi. Then you're going to hit the toggle. So press the toggle and my answer is 245.04. Now because I use pi, my answer is 245. So if you look at who's closest, your answer would be D. I'm going to show you that that is correct. So let's try that. So we have 2 times 3.14 times 3 times 10 plus 2 times 3.14 times 3 squared, close our parentheses, and when we hit enter, notice we get 244.92. So your answer is D. And this is when we used pi as 3.14. So on the task test, sometimes they didn't want you to calculate. I don't know if that will be also the case in GED, but I threw in this problem here where it says, Trenton, use the following pattern to construct a cylinder that is 10 centimeters tall. So right here, this is the height. Now, what's happening with this cylinder is that they kind of deconstructed. So this is the height. This circle and this circle, this is the top. Let's call this the top. And this is the bottom. And this will be what will be wrapping around the cylinder. Or you can think of it as a can. So we know that the formula for the surface area of a cylinder is SA equals to 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. So we have 2 times pi times, now this 3 here is our radius, so that will be 3, and then our height is 10, plus 2 times pi times, and our radius is 3 squared. So that's what we're looking for. So I can eliminate A because that's missing a plus sign, B as well. Okay, C has a plus sign, but if you notice, they're missing the 2's. So our answer is D. And notice they wrote it backwards. So you have 2 here, 3 squared, and then the pi, and then this was the 2 times 3 times 10 times pi. So your answer is D. Don't be confused if they do not write the formula just as is. Look to see if you have everything. So here I'm looking, I have a 2. So you're like, okay, I have a 2, I have a 3 squared, and I have a pi. So you're like, okay, I have that part. I have a plus sign, and then I have a 2, a 3, and a 10, and a pi. So my answer is D. I threw in this question here with the oil tanker because not all the time may you get an answer that's numerical. So it says here the height of an oil tanker, which is in a cylinder, is 13 yards, and the diameter, remember, read carefully, of the base is 6 yards. And they want you to calculate the oil tank's total surface area. So surface area is 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. Now we have the height, but the 6 is our diameter. Our diameter is 6, which means our radius, we're going to have to half that 6, which would be 3. So we have 2 pi, radius is 3, and height is 13, plus 2 pi, and our radius is 3 squared. And I'm going to put that in the calculator. So open my parentheses, 2 times pi times 3 times 13, close that, plus 2 times pi times 3 squared. Close my parentheses, and when I hit enter, notice my answer is 96 pi. So because they want their answer as pi, your answer is C. So not always will they want a numerical answer. And this is why I usually use pi, but then if they wanted it to be a numerical, you would just press the toggle. And then notice the toggle is giving you a numerical answer, which is 301. But they did not want that. They wanted their answer in pi. So that's what I calculated it as, 96 pi. Now, the last two questions are if you're given the surface area and now you have to find the height. So in the first question, they say the surface area is 251.2 square centimeters. Now this 4 right here is my radius and I'm trying to find the height. So SA equals to 2 pi RH plus 2 pi R squared. So I'm going to replace all my values. So I know the surface area is 251.2. So I have 2. Now if you want to, you can change pi. Let's put this 3.14. The radius is 4, but I don't know the height, so that's going to stay h. Plus 2 times 3.14, and I know my radius is 4 squared. So I have 251.2 equals, so here I'm going to do 2 times 3.14 times 4. Those are the only numbers I can multiply, which gives me 25.12. So this will be 25.12. And remember, you have that variable h. Plus, now let's multiply this. So this is 2 times 3.14 times 4 squared. So that's 100.48. Now, when you look at this, this looks like a two-step linear equation where you're solving for h. So I will get rid of the 100. So I will subtract 100.48 from both sides. So that goes. So we have 251.2 minus 100.48. which gives me 150.72 equals to 25.12 h. And solving for h, we'll do the opposite operation, which will be dividing. So we'll divide both sides by 25.12. And let's see what our h is. So we have our 152.72. Let's divide that by 25.12. And our answer is 6. So the height equals 6. Okay, let's try it again. They gave us the surface area. It's 1,570 square inches. Now this line right here, that's the 20. This is the diameter. Because remember, this line is cutting your circle in half. So the radius, we're going to have to half 20, which is 10. So we have SA equals to 2 pi RH plus 2 pi R squared. Let's replace all our variables. So we have 1570 equals to 2. 3.14, your radius is 10, and your height, we don't know. Plus 2 times 3.14, and your radius is 10 squared. So we have 1570 equals, get our calculator. So I have 2 times 3.14 times 10, which gives me 62.8. 62.8, and we still have the h, plus 2 times 3.14 times 10 squared. That gives me 628. Now we're solving for h, so I'm going to subtract 628 from both sides. $942 equals to 62.8. Solving for h, we'll divide both sides by 62.8. Divide that by 62.8. And our answer is 15. I hope you found this lesson helpful. What we did today was we found the surface area of a cylinder, and we also found the height of a cylinder if you're given the surface area. As always, if you're new here, please subscribe. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button. If you know someone who is trying to get their GED examination in New York City or in the other 51 states, please share. If you have any questions, please drop them below in the comment section. And as always, good luck on your GED exam.